From Stonemaier Games, and I am so excited to be here with you today. Today is a day that's been a long time in the making, and I don't want to spoil anything right off the bat. Just in case you haven't watched the teaser trailer on the Stonemaier Games YouTube channel, watch that first. We're going to be talking about some things today that have to do with that trailer. In fact, one of them is already kind of on screen here. I'll move that slightly off screen, but yeah, we have a big reveal today. In fact, we have two big reveals. One involves the new Tapestry expansion. So the new Tapestry expansion is called Fantasies and Futures. You can see it here, Fantasies and Futures. And I'll talk about this one a little bit more in a minute. Or maybe I'll jump to it because the other one is a new game. It's a surprise game. It's one that I've been working on for about 3 years now. And it has basically entered production. It started to enter production, but we decided because of the nature of this specific game, that I'll talk about more specifically in a minute after you've had the chance to watch the teaser trailer, that it would be best to open a pre-order for it today. So there is a pre-order live on our web store right now for this game. It's a pre-order before production begins because we want to make sure that we cover everyone who wants a copy of this game. Has a chance to go ahead and pre-order it before we have gotten to the point in production that we can't add more units, basically. That's the point of this. So yeah, a lot to cover today. Hopefully I'll get to you all of your questions today. If I miss anything, please let me know. Facebook's going to scroll pretty quickly today, but I see lots of friendly faces, lots of people who are excited today. And yeah, where should I start? Let's start. Again, I'll give you a few minutes to check out this teaser trailer if you haven't already. It's also linked in the e-newsletter, which I posted in the description. But let me talk a little bit about Tapestry's Fantasies and Futures. So, as you can see, this is in a unique envelope. It's an envelope full of stuff. It's a pretty packed envelope. But what we decided to do with this expansion, it's pretty much a more stuff expansion, more capital cities, more civilizations, more tapestry cards, more tech cards, more not more landmark cards. So it's all like printed components that are in here. And what we decided to do was go with the most eco-friendly approach possible and print it or put it in an envelope. So every copy of the expansion comes in this envelope. There's kind of a sticker on the front with the name of the expansion, all the information that you need to for a retailer to sell this thing or for a fulfillment center to ship it. And after you get it, you can just recycle the envelope. You can put everything that you have here inside your copy of Tapestry and go ahead and recycle the envelope. And we've even designed it so that on the back of the envelope, it doesn't require any additional packaging. So if you end up pre-ordering on March 1st, if you end up pre-ordering just the Tapestry expansion, our fulfillment centers are just going to slap a label on it right here and put it in the mail. And so yeah, this is probably our most eco-friendly packaging approach to date, and we're hoping it works out. It's a little bit of a test, but we think we've tested it pretty well to see if it works. And I'll talk a little bit more about the new insert that we're providing as well in a minute. But let me make sure that I haven't missed any questions. Again, if I do miss any questions, feel free to ask more about it. Nathan says, is Expeditions your open world game that we've heard so much about? No, it is not. Expeditions is a sequel to Scythe. Expeditions is the big reveal today, the thing that I have right here in my hands. It is a big box. It's about the size of the Scythe box, but the Scythe box is more horizontally oriented. Expeditions is vertically oriented. Jakob chose this orientation for the art of the box. This is the game that I've been working on for the last 3 years, along with Jakob. We decided early in the pandemic for some reason, I kind of moved on from the 1920 plus world of Scythe, but something made me reach out to Jakob and say, how would you feel about exploring a sequel? Like, I don't want to make another expansion for Scythe. We've already completed Scythe, but what if we made a sequel to the game? And we got to work on Expeditions. And again, Expeditions is available for pre-order right now, so you can go to our web store and check it out. You can also check out the full rule books. The things that we don't have yet for it are things like reviews. We don't have reviews for Expeditions yet because it's still entering production. We don't have final produced copies of it, which are the types of copies that we send to reviewers. So those will come later, and if you want to wait until later, there's no pressure to pre-order today. We are going to kind of finalize the final first run print quantity in a few weeks based on the pre-orders that we do receive over the next couple days, couple weeks. And then after that, we'll make extra copies for people who want to wait to see those reviews, see that more detailed content. But for now, you can see a fair amount of information about it on our website, and as well as the rulebooks. The rulebooks are fully there for you to look over and review to see if it's a good fit for you. But we figured that people who are fans of Scythe are going to be drawn to this game. It's that's a little bit of a conjecture there, a little bit of an assumption, but it is the sequel to Scythe, and so and it's designed around similar principles to Scythe, even though it is a different game. It's designed to feel similar, even though the mechanisms are completely different. And so we figured that there's a pretty big audience for Scythe, and we wanted to give that audience a chance to pre-order it. If they see it and they're like, okay, it's related to Scythe, I want to go for it. Chad says, who is sporting their Stonemaier Games orange shirts today, the Stonemaier Ambassadors shirts? I certainly am. Let's see. Dustin asks, why is there no PayPal option for expeditions? Dustin, that's a good question. So PayPal does not accept payments for things that you're not shipping within the same month or the same 45 days. And Expeditions hasn't entered print yet, or it's just beginning to enter production. And so we aren't allowed, or PayPal won't let us use their platform to accept payments for it. So you have to use a debit card or a credit card instead. Just scroll through, look through other questions that I missed real quick. Steven says, since this is the final Tapestry expansion, I'm talking about the Tapestry expansion here, will you be offering reprints of the adjusted Civ mats for sale? So Steven, that's a project that we've been working on. It's still an ongoing project. That will be a separate thing that we will offer later. And yes, they will be final reprinted, final adjusted versions, and sometimes fully redesigned civilizations for Tapestry. That'll come a little bit later, but we are working on that. Steven says, what was Expedition's code name? It was codenamed Draw. The reason it was codenamed Draw, we're talking about Expeditions here, is that originally I started designing this either as an LCG, a living card game or expandable card game, or a deck building game. And I went through multiple iterations, many iterations of this game, and some of them were deck building. I pretty quickly realized that it wasn't going to be a living card game. I didn't want to go with that format. But I tried deck building, I tried bag building, and then I went back to deck building, and then I went back to bag building, and neither of those formats really seemed to work for the game. But that's why the codename was originally Draw, because you're drawing cards. And so now there is a little bit of card draw in the game, but you're not drawing from a deck of cards anymore. It's more hand management, a little bit more in the style of Concordia, where you have a hand of cards, and on your turn, if you choose the play option, which is one of a few different options you can choose, you'll play a card, and at a certain point, you'll gather your cards back. You'll refresh your cards back to your hand. So it's that format. Seemed to work a lot better for this particular game. I'm going to leave this right here so you can see what I'm talking about today. Let's see. Yeah, William remembered that codename was Draw. Someone mentioned the metal mechs here. Chad mentioned the metal mechs. So yeah, there are two versions of Expeditions, and they're almost identical, except for in Expeditions, there are plastic mechs, and here's one of them. This is a giant plastic mech here. So there are these plastic mechs in Expeditions. Put that right there. And there's also an Ironclad edition. And the Ironclad edition comes with giant metal mechs. And so you can choose the edition that is right for you. We're offering both of them right now. And we're also offering retailers have a limited opportunity to order the Ironclad edition right now. So if they want to do that, retailers can do that through distributors, through specific distributors in particular. And then later, retailers will just sell the standard version, the plastic version. We'll continue to sell both. The only other differences between the two is that the Ironclad edition has Ironclad edition in kind of silver foil on the front of the box, and it's individually numbered. And the Ironclad edition also has silicone base snaps instead of the plastic base snaps that come with the plastic mechs. Steven says, will the plastic mechs be available as a separate purchase for those who buy the Ironclad edition? Currently, we're not planning to do that. It is possible we'll do it if enough people ask for it, but currently it's just the two versions. That's how it's one version or the other. Cameron says, just to be clear, the Ironclad edition does not include the metal coins. That's correct. There are separate metal coins that you can buy. You can either pre-order the metal coins on our web store, or you can order the metal coins that we have in stock. But that would have added another significant cost to it. And we figured that many people already have Scythe metal coins. and so they wouldn't want to rebuy more of them. However, we did change one little thing about the metal coins. One little thing that's always bothered me about the $5 metal coins inside is that they looked very similar to the $10 coins. And so we decided to revise them. You can kind of see it here. These are the new $5 coins. They have a red tint to them. A red tint to them here. I don't know if you can fully see it on camera. And so the new version of the coins that we're printing from now on are Scythe and Expeditions metal coins. And they're almost identical to the original Scythe coins, except they have the red $5 coins. And for those who already have the Scythe metal coins, and maybe there is already a version of the red metal coins that MapleSource has, but if you want the new $5 coins, you can also pre-order these, just the $5 coins. So you can add them to your set of existing metal coins. I know I'm missing questions here in the comments, but feel free to repeat them if I am. Facebook's scrolling past them. Tobias asked, what is the play area for Expeditions? We actually put this in the bottom of the box. Let me see if I can look at it here. It's 640 by 220 millimeters. 640, so 64 by 22 centimeters, Tobias. We have that on the bottom of the box for Expeditions. Michelle said, what has been your favorite game to design and why? Oh, I've had fun with all my different game designs. I mean, this was a challenge. I would say Expeditions was fun at times, but it was also very challenging at times because I redesigned this game around a dozen times, like almost completely started over from scratch and redesigned it because I really wanted to do justice to the 1920 plus world and to Scythe fans who would maybe be interested in a sequel. It's hard for me to pick the most fun redesign or game to design, Michelle. I would say Smitten was actually pretty fun because Smitten was so small. It's such a small cooperative game. It was kind of a fun challenge to design something a little more humble than some of my other designs. Tony says, will Expeditions be focused on events and explorations, or will combat play a bigger role? Tony, that's a great question. Also, just to let anyone know, if you have questions about how Expeditions works, the full rulebook is available on our website right now. There's no actual combat in Expeditions. You are not fighting other players. Rather, you are going on an expedition into Siberia where a meteor has crashed and scattered these kind of mysterious meteorites over the land and corrupting the land. And so you are fighting corruption as you move throughout this world. So you're exploring and you're fighting corruption. You're upgrading your mech. You're expanding your crew and expanding your capabilities through various cards. But you are not fighting each other. Sorry, Mark, I just saw a question from you, but Facebook scrolled past it a little too fast. Mark may have asked about the promo pack associated with Expeditions, the Rolling Realms promo pack. And I have a little story about this. You can see here is the Rolling Realms promo pack for Expeditions. But you can see here, the name of the game on the promo pack is Expedition. And that's because this game was originally called Expedition. It was called Expedition for a long time. And during that time, as we got closer to finishing the production of this, I had already designed the promo realm for this and gone to print with it, with the promo realm for Rolling Realms. And then we heard an announcement for Essen that there was another game coming out called Expedition. There have been other games called Expedition in the past, but it was much longer ago. And so we figured it would be okay with getting that trademark and proceeding with Expedition. And then this game came out, and we didn't want to have two confusing games named Expedition. And so we changed the name to Expeditions, but we'd already printed the Rolling Realms promo packs. And so they are called Expedition, but they're referring to the same game. Ironically, or I don't even know what the right word is, yesterday I learned that there's another game called Expeditions that is coming out in 2023. We need to figure out a better way to communicate names to various publishers. But I reached out to the publisher who's coming out with this game, and their version of Expeditions is actually a new edition of an older game called Expedition, singular. And so I just gave them a heads up that we're already in production. Like, we can't change the name Expeditions at this point. And wanted to let them know about it. They were a little caught off guard by it as well. But publisher to publisher, we talked about it, and I don't know what they're going to do, but they might add a subtitle to the box as well. All right, again, I know I'm missing a lot of questions here. Facebook is scrolling through them really fast, but feel free to repeat them. I'll get back to your question if you ask it. Chad says, what would you say, what percentage of the art is brand new from Jakub Brzezowski? 100% of the art in Expeditions is new art. Every single card, every single tile, the box art, every single illustration in Expeditions is brand new. Zach says, do you have any worry saying it's a sequel to Scythe with possibly set expectations so high that they will be hard to be met? I think it's pretty accurate that it's a sequel to Scythe. I'm not too concerned about expectations. I spent a lot of time and effort on this game trying to make it a game that people who enjoy Scythe would also want, or would also enjoy. So yeah, I don't know. I can't really set expectations as to whether or not people will like the game, but I think it feels a lot like Scythe, and so I think that goal is accurately accomplished. And I think also in terms of theme, like it is literally a sequel to Scythe. The events and expeditions take place after the events in Scythe. John says, would you recommend ordering the Tapestry expansion separately from Expeditions? If we order together, we would have to wait for Expeditions. That's correct. Yes. Yeah, if you pre-order Expeditions today, you will be waiting until we have finished production and freight shipping. It'll probably be July or August. Probably July. Maybe June. I don't know. It depends on how production and freight shipping go. But probably June, July, maybe August at the latest. The Tapestry expansion is already printed and complete. It is arriving at fulfillment centers now, and that's why we're doing a traditional launch for Tapestry, the Tapestry Fantasies and Futures expansion on March 1st. So keep them separate, and keep anything, like if you add anything else, like say you want a copy of Viticulture 2, I would highly recommend ordering it separately, because otherwise you'll be waiting for Expeditions before your copy of Viticulture ships, even though Viticulture is in stock right now. Patrick says, would you say it would be better to have played the original Scythe to enjoy Expeditions more, or does it really stand alone as if Scythe hadn't existed? The mechanisms are completely new. So you can play either game completely independent of each other without having any context of having played Scythe. At the same time, I think your experience can be... you'll see some things in this game that will... particularly the characters, many of the characters from Scythe carry over into Expeditions. And so there's like a little bit of thematic carryover, but you really can go into either one. So you could play Expeditions first, and if you like it, you could try out Scythe, and vice versa. Jason says, given your experience with Libertalia, an old game in a new world, what are your thoughts about returning to the world of a previous game, especially a game as popular as Scythe? Did your experience with Libertalia approach how you are approaching the production and marketing of Expeditions? I consider them pretty separate. It's a good question, Jason. I see what you're saying. But yeah, Libertalia was the creation of someone else. Like it was a creation by another designer, by another company originally, and we were taking it and making it our own. Not taking it, we were working with the designer and making it our own. Expeditions is really different because I was the designer of Scythe. I worked with Jakob before, so the art is the same. It's consistently the same art, the same world. The challenge was creating a game that felt like Scythe, but was completely different than Scythe and made more sense for the expedition that you're going on. This is a very dangerous expedition that you're going on into the north of Siberia, where some mysterious things have happened. It's a very different... in that way, it's very different than Scythe. In Scythe, you're kind of... Scythe is a little bit more about controlling this world, this land. Expeditions is about exploring it and removing corruption from it while still upgrading your engine, upgrading your mech, upgrading your deck of cards or your hand of cards. Chet says, who came up with the Expedition story? That's Jakob, 100% Jakob. David says, will arts and architecture be reprinted in time for the new Tapestry expansion on March 1st? Yes, it will. It's not that it's reprinted in time, but it will be available in time. The reprint started many, many months ago, but for freight shipping, arts and architecture is due. The reprint is due to arrive in fulfillment centers over the next few weeks. Michael says, will the promo pack be available or given with the game? So if you go on our web store right now and you pre-order Expeditions, you will see the promo pack for Rolling Realms available as pre-order as well. So you just put both of them in your cart. Yeah. Eric says, as a playtester for the game, I thought there was a different name prior to Expedition. Eric, there was a code name prior to Expedition. The code name for this game was Frostbite. So we had multiple levels of code names for this game. There was the code name that we put on the newsletter, which was Draw, and then we had a code name for playtesters, which was Frostbite. But during that time, the real name for the game was Expedition. Mark says, until when can we place the pre-order for Expeditions? That's a good question, Mark. And it's a little bit of a nebulous answer, but the hopeful answer is anytime over the next 5 months, you can do it. But in a few weeks, we will tell our manufacturer how many copies of Expeditions we want them to make. And at that point, that first print run quantity becomes finite. And so if we say we have received 10,000 pre-orders at that point, and we decide, okay, let's make 20,000 copies just in case. At that point, that means there are 10,000 remaining copies available for people to pre-order. And at some point, hopefully, they will inevitably sell out. And so that part of the answer I can't answer. But I can say if you order in the next couple of weeks, Mark, then we can guarantee that you'll get a first print run copy. And we are hoping to make more than enough copies for many people who want it after more content about Expeditions is revealed. Again, the full rulebook is available now, but reviews won't be available until probably May. Yves says, was it your idea to use Tunguska as a theme, or was it Jakob? Yeah, all the theme, the story, the art, the world building, all that is from Jakob. Yeah, I was just trying to find. I'm just the game designer here. Chad says, is the Gunther art based on Jakob? You may or not know for sure. I don't think so. Gunther is German. Jakob is Polish. I don't think that's based on him or even a real person that I'm aware of. Dustin says, should metal coins be purchased separately or from Expeditions, or it's okay? I missed the rest of your question in Facebook scroll past, but if you're ordering anything with the label pre-order on it, put that all in the same order, because all that stuff will be shipped together. The pre-order for Expeditions, the metal coins, the promo pack, things like that. If you want to order the current size metal coins that we have in stock, place a separate order for them. Yeah. Thomas says, is there more than one bear card, and could there be a bear expansion in the future? There's just one specific bear in the game, and I think it's Wojtek has a specific card in the game. Josh says, is Expeditions going to be the preview at Geekway? I am hoping, Josh, that we will have copies available at Geekway to the West in the play-in win. It might be a little tight for us to make it in time, but I am hopeful that that will be the case. Corlin says, the MeepleSource booth will be very busy. Will you have nesting boxes at Gen Con? The MeepleSource / Stonemaier Games booth should have some nesting boxes available at Gen Con. I think if you go to the MeepleSource website right now, you will see them. Javoy says, you mentioned corruptions being part of the story of Expeditions. Will this draw in some elements of Jakob's other supernatural-themed art? I seem to recall werewolves at some point. There are no werewolves in Expeditions, but there is a little bit more, or a lot more, of kind of a scary... it has almost a Cthulhu vibe, even though it isn't Cthulhu at all, but kind of these ancients that have been brought into the world. And so that is very much an element of Expeditions, yeah. Denny says, what creates the tension in the game if Expeditions has no combat? Oh, there's so many ways that games offer tension without combat. Like Viticulture has tension with worker placement without combat. A lot of the tension in Expeditions is being the first player to remove corruption, or being the first player to grab a specific card that you want, and being the player to trigger the end of the game, because it has an end of game mechanism similar to Scythe with the stars, where you're placing stars you're kind of boasting about things in Expedition. You've completed this thing, you place a star, you boast about it to place that star, and so there's tension there as to who will end the game first. There's lots of tension in the game. And also there's tension as to, like the mechs move around and act kind of like workers, even though there are also other workers in the game. They move around to various locations and gather things at those locations. And only one mech can be at a location tile at a time. So there's tension as to if you want to get to a specific tile, that you might want to go ahead and do that. So there's lots of tension in games without combat. Tom says, are there any more realms being released alongside this one? Nope, just this promo realm this time. We'll do a batch of 3 promo realms in the fairly near future. Maybe definitely in April. We have a batch of 3 in April. I might do one earlier than that. Christoph says, how many game pitches do you guys receive in a month? It can depend from, it's usually a couple dozen pitches a month on our submission form. Yeah. Tony says, curious about the process of getting the voiceover narration at Expeditions. Can you talk a little bit about how you coordinated, evaluated that? I reached out to someone that we've worked with in the past. Megan Selke did the voiceover for Libertalia. And I told her that I was looking for someone, and Megan just essentially did this as a favor, but someone who knows the voiceover industry pretty well. I told her that I wanted a voiceover from someone with a Polish accent, specifically, a voiceover artist with a Polish accent. And Megan searched around in some of the forums that she knows as being a voiceover artist, and she found Christoph, or Chris, to do the voiceover for Expeditions. And so we worked with Chris for that. Yeah, specifically, the person in the teaser trailer that Chris is representing is Tarkovsky. He is the person who essentially went on the first expedition to find out what was going on in this area of the world. And some bad stuff happened to him, or he got involved in some bad stuff. And he is, in the teaser trailer, he's inviting you to join him in this area of Siberia. So I wanted the right person to represent Tarkovsky in the teaser trailer. Monta says, I was wondering if you get nervous before such a big release. I definitely get very, very nervous for many different reasons, but also kind of a lot of things come together all at once on the morning of a new release. And so it's kind of a stressful morning, but it's fun to be here with all of you, answering your questions, seeing what you're curious about for Expeditions and the new Tapestry expansion. Chad says, will there be a Watch It Played? There will be a Watch It Played. Yeah. Cortland says, will the Ironclad Edition have the Collector's Edition individual numbers? It will be. Yeah. The Ironclad Edition has metal mechs instead of plastic mechs. It has Ironclad Edition on the box in silver foil. And it also has an individual numbering. And it has silicone base snaps instead of plastic base snaps for the miniatures. Jeremy says, the box looks a lot bigger on stream than the image. I was initially concerned with the cost of shipping. Are the components fairly heavy? The game weighs, the standard game weighs 2.4 kilograms. The Ironclad Edition weighs, I believe it's 2.6 kilograms. It is a big box. It is a heavy box. And we have subsidized shipping to make it a little bit more friendly for you. Tim says, not sure if you've got it up on the screen, but it would be cool to know the pre-sale numbers in the first hour. I don't know the pre-sale numbers offhand, but I think on the pre-order page, you should be able to see like the number of copies ordered so far. Yeah. Rick said, oh, sorry, Rick. Facebook scrolled past your question. Thomas says, is there a bear miniature? No, they're just mech miniatures. There are 5 big mech miniatures in Expeditions. Steven says, do you have different code names for playtests? Not always, but in this case, we added a little extra secrecy because it was Scythe. Playtesters, I think, realized rather quickly that it was a playtest for Scythe. We didn't keep that from them, but we didn't want the name accidentally kind of getting out there and doing things. Danny says he ordered Expeditions now and noticed that shipping is free. It shouldn't be free shipping, Danny. So let me check on that real quick to see. Danny, what location are you? I think you're in Europe, but I'm not entirely sure. I'll send a note to our web developer. Just to make sure. Hopefully that's not the case. We can't afford free shipping on this thing. It should be discounted shipping if you're a champion, but Renee says, will there be a 2-copy limit for each edition or in general? I want to get 2 Ironclad in the normal one as well. I don't think we put a limit on this one. I think maybe we put the standard limit is 4 or 5 units, but I don't think we put a lower limit than that. If you're encountering that, please let me know. Jonas says, when will Expeditions and Tapestry expansion be hitting the EU store? Expeditions is already on our European store. It's on all of our web stores right now. Tapestry, Fantasies and Futures will be on all of our web stores on March 1st. Ron says, will the Invaders from Afar be joining in at some point? Well, Ron, check out the rulebook. You might see them in there. Yeah, in fact, you will see the characters in there. It's not kind of an Invaders from Afar style, but there is one character from Invaders from Afar that is in the core game of Expeditions. In fact, even though Expeditions is a 5-player game, there are 6 characters that you can choose from. So, and each character has a character companion, animal companion pairing. Jonathan says, can you show the insert for Tapestry? Yeah, I wanted to show this. Thank you for prompting that, Jonathan. So we have worked with Folded Space, a company that knows how to make inserts really well, to create an insert that fits into the original Tapestry box. And this is instead of making a new Tapestry, like a big box for Tapestry, because the original box for Tapestry is able to hold all the things for Tapestry. So here's the top layer. I won't go through all the layers, but here's the top layer of the Folded Space insert for Tapestry. And yes, we did work with Folded Space to ensure that all of the expansion components fit in here. It is specifically designed for that purpose. And it's a really beautiful insert too. It has kind of this art printed on it to show you different things. Yeah, it's really well put together by Folded Space. So that is the insert for Tapestry that will be available for pre-order from our web store at the same time as the new Tapestry expansion. So you can get the folded space insert from folded space or directly from us if you want to consolidate shipping when you get the expansion. That is all on March 1st. And in fact, this ties to Thomas's question about a big box. So yeah, no big box, just an insert for the original Tapestry box. Lucas says about the Tapestry expansions, this is the final expansion, but there's no mention of rebalanced civs. There are mentions of that, just not maybe where you're looking, Lucas. So we are working on adjusted versions of the Tapestry civilizations. That will be a separate pack that will be available later of just the civilizations. Oh, Tim's mentioning, okay, there is free shipping. Yeah, okay, thanks for clarifying that. There is free shipping on our web store for most products if your order is over $100. So if you bring your order up over $100 or the equivalent in your local currency, then there is free shipping. Tom says, is it like the big box where we can't pre-order it with something else? Nope, you can put any pre-ordered items into your order of expeditions. So you can put the metal coins, you can put expeditions, you can put the promo pack. Just don't put anything that's in stock, or you shouldn't be able to put anything that's in stock. Or if you, actually no, you can, but if you do, you won't receive those things until you receive the pre-order. So again, I used the example of viticulture earlier. If you want viticulture, we have viticulture in stock right now. If you pre-order viticulture with expeditions, you won't receive viticulture until we ship you expeditions, which won't be for at least a few months. Yeah, thanks for clarifying about the free shipping. Yeah. Juan says, what's the retail price? We haven't, for Tapestry Plans Employees, we haven't revealed the pricing for Tapestry. We typically don't reveal the pricing for product until we start accepting orders for it. Tom says, when will the pre-order last until? The pre-order will be ongoing. It's just an ongoing thing that we'll offer for expeditions. Right now, it's unlimited. Like we can make as many copies of expeditions as there is demand for it. However, that first print run quantity will become finite once we start the print run, or once we really lock in the print. We've already started it, but once we lock in the print run in a few weeks. So if you already know that you want expeditions, I would highly recommend that you order it pre-order it within the next few weeks. If you want to wait and see, if you need to wait, there is still a very good chance that there will be copies for you later, because we are going to try to make enough to carry through really for like the first 3 quarters of 2023 is the goal. Let's see. Frank says, is there combat amongst players in expeditions? No, you do not fight other players in expeditions. You are combating against the corruption in the land that has kind of tainted the land of Siberia where you're exploring in expeditions. Sean says, do the animal pairings add anything? Of course, yeah. They add, you have a character card and you have a companion card, and they go together. So you're not meant to mix and match them. So Anna always goes with Wojtek, for example, and each card is uniquely designed for that character or that companion. Kurt says, is there a time on March 1st to set for pre-order reminder? It's typically around this same time, like around 9:30 St. Louis time, Central Time. That's normally when we launch pre-orders for new products, or launches or pre-orders. Yeah. Stephanie says, will the Tapestry insert fit sleeved cards? Absolutely. Yes, it will, as will the insert in Expeditions. Clint says, can we ship to the Philippines? We can, but it used to be from our US store, and now we ship to Asia from our Australia, New Zealand, Asia store. So go to our Australia store, Clint, and you'll be able to ship from there. And if not, please let us know via customer service and we'll help you out with that. Denny says, does Expeditions have room for expansions? It does. Yeah, I have a few expansion ideas right now for Expeditions. I've designed the insert for the box to hold up to 2 more mechs. And so there might be up to 2 more mechs. There's plenty of room for more cards, more characters. I've even designed the insert to allow for lots of new location tiles, maybe even an entire new area to explore in the world. So there's a lot of I designed a lot of the flexibility of the insert in the box for the potential of expansions. Brian says, what games have you played this winter? So some recent plays, actually. I played Cosmic Frog, Tranquility on Board Game Arena, played Century Spice Road on Board Game Arena, and this past weekend I played Framework and War of the Ring, the card game, and really enjoyed all those games. But probably the highlight for me of all of them was War of the Ring, the card game. I really had a lot of fun with that. Okay, Rick says, did you read any steampunk themed books like Six of Crows when designing Scythe or Expeditions? Just curious where you get your inspiration. I do. I actually love Six of Crows. I'm blanking on that author's name right now, but I read everything that author produces. The Ninth House. She has a book coming out soon, or that just came out soon, recently. The sequel to The Ninth House. I read a lot. I read a lot of fiction in general, but for Expeditions, all of my inspirations were either based on Scythe or based on the 1920 plus world that Jakob expanded into, ventured into to create Expeditions. So it all came from Jakob's world for the inspirations. Max says, how many tiles are in Expeditions? There are 20 location tiles in Expeditions. That is a precise number because it corresponds to the quest cards in the game. In Expeditions, you can pick up a quest card, and that quest card is a card that you can use when you play cards. It has an action on it that you can use. But you can also go to a specific location tied to that specific quest to complete that quest. And once you do, that is one of the things that can kind of move you towards the end of the game and give you points at the end of the game. It's a little bit similar to the popularity mechanism in Scythe, where when you complete quests, they improve the value of all the stars that you have in the game, that you placed in the game, or really all the things that you have in the game, not just the stars. Someone else asked, does the Tapestry insert fit sleeved cards? And yes, it does. Tony says, is there a campaign or continuing story, or is it standalone sessions like Scythe, the base game? Yeah, this is a standalone. It's a standalone game, and it's a single session game. So you played in a single session. It is not a campaign game. The only campaign thing in the Scythe world is the Rise of Fenris. It, like Scythe itself, is a game that you just sit down and play, and then you set it up, clean it up, and you're done with it. That's the same case with Expeditions. Winston says, is the only difference between the Ironclad editions and the normal edition the metal coins? No, there are no metal coins in the Ironclad edition. The only difference are the metal mechs. There are metal mechs in the Ironclad edition, as well as a foil on the box, silicon-based snaps instead of plastic-based snaps, and individual numbering on the Ironclad box. Yeah, there are no metal coins. Sorry if that's confusing. I don't know why it would be. There's nothing indicating that there are metal coins included in the Ironclad edition, but they're metal mechs, not metal coins. George says, when will we receive Expeditions if you pre-order it? Right now, we're probably looking at June or July, probably early July shipping for Expeditions. Yeah. Murray says, what is the corruption? Is it like in Terraria? I don't know Terraria, but the corruption in Expeditions, there are corruption tokens. So there's two types of corruption tokens. Whenever you discover new locations in the central or the north area of Expeditions, you seed it with corruption tokens. That area is just by default corrupted. And you need to spend either your power or your guile, depending on the type of corruption, to remove that corruption. You gain that corruption token, that's worth points at the end of the game. And once you've removed enough corruption, once you've kind of cleared a location of corruption, it opens up a new action that you can take on that location. Graham says, how big are the metal mechs? I should have put a Scythe mech out here for comparison, but here's a wingspan card right here, and here is the metal mech. So you can see it's about the size. It's a little bit smaller than a wingspan card, about the same height of a wingspan card, but they are big. They are considerably bigger than the mechs in Scythe. Mark says, is there a way to get Asia orders back on the U.S. store instead? No, Mark, we've decided to shift that Asia orders over to Australia for various reasons that we think are friendlier to you. I understand that shipping is a little bit more, but for some products, it was actually more to ship from the U.S. anyway. Clint's asking, if you have very specific customer service questions, contact at stonemeyer.com. So if you're having a problem with your order or anything specific to you and how you're ordering it, contact at stonemeyer.com. Clint has a question about transferring his Champion account probably over to a different web store. Yeah, just contact at stonemeyer.com. Kenny says, have you gone over what the Tapestry expansion is going to entail yet? I haven't gone over it in detail, but it's mostly a more stuff expansion. So it's more civs, more capital cities, more Tapestry cards, more tech cards. And there are a few new mechanisms on the Tapestry cards, some of the tech cards. I will talk about them more in detail on February 20th. For now, you can see our website for a few little details about it, but we haven't gone into many full details about it yet. Drew says, will extra minis, metal, or plastic for expeditions be available in the future? Yeah, I don't understand that people. I do understand, Drew, that lots of people like to paint their mechs. We have no plans to do that. It is possible we will do that in the future. We definitely don't have plans to sell the metal mechs separately, but it is possible for the purposes of painting, we might sell the plastic mechs separately in the future. That will be fairly far in the future. Right now, we're just focusing on getting kind of the core elements produced and shipped to everyone who pre-orders it. Tobias says he owns the Scythe metal coins, so the metal coins here are the same as Scythe. They're almost identical, except we have changed the $5 coin to have a red tint to better differentiate it from the $10 metal coin. And on our web store, you can pre-order just the $5 metal coin, the new $5 metal coins to add to your Scythe coins. But generally, if you already have the Scythe metal coins, they are perfectly compatible with Expeditions. Chad says, how worried was I that fans of Jakob and followers of his ArtStation page would realize that something else was going on, that Jakob was creating something. Maybe not really worried. I figured they might be curious. But Jakob is always kind of putting out random art of different worlds that he's exploring. So I figured it wouldn't give away all that much. Tom says, what is the weight like compared to Scythe? Is it more of a medium weight game or heavier than Scythe? I see Scythe as a medium heavyweight game, and Expeditions is also a medium heavyweight game. I would say it's very slightly less heavy than Scythe, but they're really close. Yeah. Pete, a gaming friend here in St. Louis. How do you combine engine building and open world exploration? I've never seen that combination of mechanisms. Oh, Pete, I should clarify here that this is not an open world game. It's an exploration game where you're revealing new tiles, but this is not an open world game. The open world game that I am working on does also have engine building, that you are getting better at what you do throughout the game as you play. But that is a separate game. This is just an exploration game where you are revealing tiles and exploring new tiles. Tony says, is there a co-op mode? No, I've noticed that's a trend with publishers to kind of release a game with like a co-op mode and a team mode and a competitive mode. I just focused on making the best game that I could, and the best game that I could was making this a competitive game. So this is a competitive game. It features play from 1 to 5 players, so it does have a robust solo Automa mode in the box. But yeah, it is only a competitive game. Matt says, is this the final Tapestry expansion? I thought it said that the rulebook will combine all rulebooks together. Yes, indeed. Yeah, the rulebook in this expansion, let's see if I can pull it out here, is big. So the Tapestry rulebook here, you can see it's a big rulebook. This includes all the rules for everything included in Tapestry. And that comes with the new expansion. So you can fully ditch the other rulebooks from Tapestry after you get Tapestry Fantasies and Futures. It's a much longer rulebook than the previous rulebooks, but everything's in there. We have lots of images. The co-designer of Tapestry, Chris helped me put this together. Chris did a lot of work really to put that together. Let's see. Shawnee says that there are variant plans for Tapestry and or Expeditions that will permit 6+ players. For Tapestry, no. Like Tapestry, that was actually originally the plan to make it a 6-player game with expansions. But Tapestry, I think, is kind of pushing the limits of downtime and playing time with 5 players. And so currently, there's no way to play Tapestry with 6 players as it's designed. Maybe you could do a fan variant if you wanted. In Expeditions, I don't know yet. I think it plays pretty well and pretty smoothly at 4 and 5 players, just as it does at 1, 2, or 3 players. And it could be possible to do it, but it would add downtime. And so I'm trying to think if I will decide that later. I haven't decided that yet for Expeditions. Kurt says, for someone interested in the gaming hobby, do you have any recommended locations, physical or digital, to go to try new games? The Stonemaier games have physical locations where games can be demoed. So we work at home at Stonemaier Games. We work from our homes for the most part. So no, there is no physical place to go to get demo a game. But the place I would recommend is going to either a game cafe or a game store. Go to a friendly local game store or a local game cafe. Those are great places to try games. You can also go to local conventions. There's probably a local convention in your area where you can just go and play games for a couple days. They usually have gaming libraries or play and win sections where you can try new games. Yeah, I'd go with one of those two options. Yeah. And welcome to the hobby, Kurt. I think that's a great question. Chad says, I think the confusion about the metal coins is that when purchasing the pre-order, their website offers a metal coin bundle option, but is clearly stated in the What's in the Box tab. I see. Okay, a bundle option to add the metal coins. I see. I would think that would actually make it clear that metal coins are separate from what you're normally getting. But if we can make that clear, let me know. We can certainly try to make that clearer. The Tenho says, what would you compare Expeditions to the most, gameplay or mechanics wise? What did I put in my little pitch here? So definitely Scythe, and I usually try to pick a few games for this comparison. Scythe is the big one. Oh, and Lost Ruins of Arnak. That was definitely a big inspiration for this game. Yeah, I would say those are the two games most closely compared to Expeditions. Chad says, are the Charterstone recharge packs going to be available again? I have a couple of customers asking about them. Chad, I think we have them available now. If not, let us know on the back in stock form on our web store, the request form, so we can make more of them. But I thought we had some in stock right now. Maybe we just don't have them stock for retailers, but we can certainly do that if that would be helpful for you. Let our retailer team know. Let Susanna know about that. Tim says, can I show more of the organizer for Tapestry? I can try. Tim, let me focus on that once we actually have it available for pre-order and closer to that for Tapestry. It was tough today because we have two big announcements today. We have the Tapestry expansion announcement and Expeditions all at once. I usually try to keep these things separately, but for the pre-order purpose of the pre-order, getting this in before production is too locked in, I had to do Expeditions today. And that's why we moved kind of the full reveal for Tapestry, the Tapestry expansion and the custom insert to February 20th. That's when the first full reveal will begin. And the pre-order will follow very soon after that on March 1st. And Shane was just asking about that. Yeah, March 1st is the pre-order for Tapestry expansion. Garrett says, do I have a favorite piece of art from Expeditions? I have some favorite illustrations, but it's really hard to pick one. The art in this game, I love the art in this game. It is incredible. I mean, it's Jakob at his best, but Jakob keeps getting better and better. And because he was able to delve into kind of the supernatural world a little bit in Expeditions, he does some really cool stuff with the art, especially with color palettes. Yeah. Alex, my coworker Alex, points out here, if shipping is too much, you can order from your local game store. That's a great point. Yeah, if you get to the checkout, for Expeditions and you realize that the shipping is just too much to handle, totally get that. You can get it from your local game store instead. Dustin asked about the cost of the Tapestry insert. We haven't revealed the cost for Tapestry stuff today. Today we just have the cost for Expeditions. Let's see. Chad says, would you say Expeditions is lighter in complexity than Scythe? Very, very slightly lighter, but it's very close to the same weight as Scythe. Okay, I say Winston says he wants metal mechs. I got confused because of the Expedition coin bundle that comes up on the page, which is the same price as the Ironclad version. Maybe we should just remove that bundle. I will leave myself a note about that. Or I'll sounds like the bundle is what's confusing people. We just wanted to make sure people had the chance, or had an easy ability to add the metal coins to their order if they wanted them. But I think we'll change that since it's causing some confusion. Nick says, does it give you the opportunity to get your engine built and running a few turns before the game end? Really, your engine gets built from turn one. Like you are actively building and using your engine in Expeditions. I guess not right away in turn one, but some things that you can do on turn one can immediately benefit you on turn two and so on. So yeah, you really get to use your engine in Expeditions quite a bit. Kenny says, for the Tapestry expansion, is it going to come with the revised landmark cards that had the mirrored layout? Yes, we do have a few cards that had misprints before, and they come in Tapestry Fantasies and Futures. Marlene, let's see. Why announced Expeditions now, and why push Tapestry related further out? I actually just talked about that a second ago, Marlene. You probably saw that answer by the time I saw your question. But yeah, so Expeditions, we wanted to do it now to make sure that we were covering first run demand, given its connection to Scythe and the number of, I mean, we've sold over 500,000 copies of Scythe, and so it a lot of people could be interested in this game, and maybe not. Maybe I just wanted to accurately gauge demand for this, and we had to do it now because we have already entered production on Expeditions, and the window to kind of change the quantity is very tight for Expeditions. So we had to do that now. Whereas Tapestry Fantasies and Futures happens to just be arriving now. It's arriving at fulfillment centers now. And so rather than doing the reveal, the full reveal at the same time, I'm kind of doing a partial reveal for this now for Expeditions, a partial reveal for Fantasies and Futures on February 20th. And that actually works out kind of pretty well, because I think most people who want Tapestry Fantasies and Futures already know they want it. This is a guess, I'm guessing there, but people who are fans of Tapestry and want an expansion, they don't need a lot of time to decide if they want it or not, basically. So that's why it's a tight window between the reveal for Tapestry Fantasies and Futures and the actual pre-order or the launch. Bobby says, since it's a sequel, is there any possibility of crossover compatibility of content? It's a great question, Bobby. I'm surprised you're the first one to answer it or ask that, or maybe I've missed it. But there is a note in the rulebook about this. There's nothing officially designed for Expeditions that can carry over into Scythe. However, given the mechs in particular, I suspect that there are fans of Scythe who will design something cool with these mechs that could also work in Scythe. And so that is a possibility. That is a possibility of something that can happen. Zach says, if you hadn't done the pre-order this way for Expeditions, how many units do you think you would have made for the first print run? We would have made probably, combined the standard and the Ironclad edition of Expeditions, probably around 25 to 30,000, I think would have been my best guess at the time. We'll see how that would have worked out. Domitian has a question about Expeditions being translated into French. There are two localization partners who have already announced that they are releasing Expeditions, and those are Matago in French and Genos Games in Italian. There are 5 other partners that haven't revealed themselves yet, but they will. You can ask them to see if they're ready to reveal it. Yeah. Eric says, will you ship Tapestry and Expeditions together? No, Eric. Well, I mean, we can, but you would have to wait a long, long time. The Tapestry expansion has already been made. It's fully produced. It is arriving at our fulfillment centers now. When you order it, really, on March 1st, it will ship within a few weeks after that. Expeditions is just entering production. So we have at least 4 months between now and when it will even have the chance of shipping. And so anything that you put in your order with Expeditions won't ship until Expeditions is ready this summer, basically. Sean says, do the characters have their own figures? No, it's only mechs that have miniatures, that need miniatures in the game. The characters have cards and their companions have cards. Tony says, is there any way outside of playing the full game that I could catch up on the story of Scythe? Yeah, check out the file for the complete rulebook of Scythe on our website. You can download the complete rulebook for Scythe, and you can read through and see the story elements of it there. Peter says, probably need to add the overlay of the plastic and metal minis over the boxes. People might think Ironclad is in reference to the coins just by looking at the images. That's a good idea, Peter. We can do that. I'll make a note about that. Molly says, how was Slay the Spire an inspiration for Expeditions? That's a big question, Molly, that I'll probably discuss more later. But yeah, Slay the Spire, I wanted Expeditions to be, really I wanted it to be a roguelike game like Slay the Spire, where you were kind of moving through a series of escalating challenges and building up to a big final kind of boss at the end. That didn't entirely end up working out, but nor did the deck building portion of it, because this is more of a hand management game than a deck building game. But the kind of the roguelike elements of it, that every time you play Slay the Spire, it's a little bit different. You're building a completely different deck or engine for it. That was a big inspiration for Expeditions. That's the main comparison to Slay the Spire at this time. And also the idea of when you complete like a little challenge or a little task that you get a reward for it. Like in Slay the Spire, oftentimes you complete something and you get a new card added to your deck. I ended up moving away from that a little bit in Expeditions, but that is the inspiration for certain things that happen in Expeditions. Donna points out that she wouldn't have known about the new coins without the bundle. That's good to know. Maybe we'll just add a little label on the product images to help clarify it. Chad says, or Garrett says, I think a common component to an upgraded version are metal coins. So I think people are assuming they're with the Ironclad edition. Having the bundle option actually made it immediately clear to me that they were not included. Okay, good. That was the original intent of the bundled option. Lise says, how heavy is Expeditions? It's about the same weight as Scythe, maybe slightly lighter than Scythe. Socrates says, will the folded space insert for Tapestry have to be assembled? Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's how we're able to ship it at a much more affordable rate, I think, than if it was fully assembled. Sean says, what's the best way to address, possibly to change your address to an order? You can actually manually change your address now. I can't give you those instructions in real time, Sean, but there is a way on our website, if you sign in, that you can just change your address. Yeah. You can also email contact@stonemeyer.com. Christoph says, when will reviews go live for this game? We haven't entered we're just barely entering production yet, so we don't have review copies yet. But we will have review copies in May for reviewers. So if you want to wait till you get until May for reviews, you can definitely do that and wait till then until you decide to pre-order. Ronak says, how long is the game time of Expeditions? It is a 1 to 5 player game that plays from 60 to 90 minutes. Sky says, I see on Board Game Geek a mechanism in Expeditions is deck bag and pool building. Is one building their own deck in this game? You're building, it's more like Concordia, where you're building a hand of cards that you are using and then gathering back into your hand to use again. But it's not random like in deck building. If so, how much are you growing your deck on a scale from like Arnak to? It's very similar to Arnak in that way, where you're not adding a ton of cards to your deck over the course of the game, or to your hand essentially, but you're adding some cards, and then those cards often end up upgrading your mech as well. So your hand is always a fairly manageable size in the game. Near says, how did you gauge how many Tapestry expansion copies to print? We used information from past Tapestry expansions to determine that quantity. Jonas says, will the EU price for Expeditions also get discounted like in the US? Currently, it's full price, but free shipping. It is in the EU. It should be a discounted price. I will double check on that right now. But keep in mind, in Europe, the listed price includes VAT, whereas in the US, it's only at checkout that you'll see the sales tax. But let's see here to make sure that we are listing the discounted price for Expeditions. Yeah. It's a discounted price. You can see it. The standard price is 85 pounds, for example, in Europe, and the discounted price is 69. So yes, you are getting the discounted price, but you're paying the listed price includes VAT on the European store. Christoph says, are the Ironclad mechs shiny, or is there? You can see it right here. Actually, this is the Ironclad mech. We had a pretty. I would not say it's shiny. It has a nice ink wash to prevent it from being too shiny. Ryan says, I believe you mentioned in the past that you weren't going to do mechs anymore after doing it for Scythe. Am I wrong, or did you guys have a change of heart? Well, yeah, we definitely had a change of heart. We're selling them right now. So we are making actually more Scythe metal mechs as well, and we have metal mechs here. I don't remember saying ever saying that I would never do metal mechs again. They're challenging to do, they're expensive to do, but I thought metal mechs are cool. Wanted to do them again for Expeditions. Giuliano says he'll be moving before the Expeditions delivery. Can I change the pre-order address? Yeah, you can. Again, I don't know the exact instructions of how to do that right now, but on our website, you should be able to change your address now, manually change your own address. If anyone wants to test this out and find a way and mention it in the comments, feel free to do that. Cody says, are you entertaining the idea of designing a deck building game even though it didn't work out for Expeditions? Cody, I don't think I am anymore. Deck building, I really tried to make this a deck building game. I tried to make it a deck building game and a bag building game, and that didn't work out, so I went with the deck building, went back to bag building, and I couldn't get it to work in a way that made sense for the theme, or that worked mechanically interesting in a way that wasn't already like widely available through a bunch of other deck building games. I have seen deck building games innovate, like Dune Imperium is one of my favorite deck building games. I think that it does deck building in a really, really interesting way. But I couldn't find a way to innovate without making it just not work all that well or not make sense thematically. So I'm not currently exploring the idea of another deck building game. Chris says, any chance for an everything Scythe bundle? the way that we sell our products is that you can put together anything that you want on our web store and sell it together. And so you can create your own scythe bundle on our web store based on everything that you want. But there is no pre-packaged scythe bundle. We're not doing that. We're going to let you pick and choose exactly what you want. Yeah, so Chris, if you want everything from Scythe, just go on our web store and put everything for Scythe in your cart, and you can get it all. Mark says, I noticed that the promo realms are capped at 4 copies per order. That's just a standard web store thing. Yeah, you can't order more than 4 of anything on our web store. Is there a way to get more copies as my local game store doesn't carry the promo realms for sale? Mark, we might be able to make a special exception for you for that reason if you contact@stonemeyer.com. Chet says, what was the most fun part in the design of this game? Well, so I designed a lot of this during the pandemic. And so a lot of the playtesting I did locally was just me kind of playtesting myself. And so it was kind of fun to be able to play a game like that, where I could just sit down without having to arrange a big playtest. I did plenty of local playtesting with other people and lots of blind playtesting, but it was kind of fun just to say, I want to get this to the table today and play a game by myself. So I really enjoyed that aspect of design. Pete says, what is your preferred player count for Expeditions? 1 to 5 players, although I don't play games solo. So I would say 2 to 5, Pete. I really did design this to work well at each of those player counts. So I'm happy to play the game with a full range of 5 players, just as I'm happy to play it with just 1 other player. George says, are the metal coins in the bundle the same metal coins from the original Scythe, or are they new metal coins designed? So the only difference in metal coins is that we have a red tinted $5 metal coin now available for pre-order. You can order the red coins by themselves if you already have Scythe coins, or you can order the new Scythe / Expedition metal coin packs, which has the new $5 red $5 metal coins. All right, I know there are more questions here, but I do have to get going now, and I have a ton of questions over email as well. So if you have any other questions that I missed, I know I have. I'm sorry I've missed some questions. In fact, I missed other things that I wanted to cover today. I'll have to get back to them later. Brennan, I know Brennan had a question. A friend of mine had a disc golf ace this past weekend. That was awesome to see. And Rolling Realms live plays. I'm doing Rolling Realms live plays this week at 4 o'clock each day. Today, tomorrow, and Friday, if you want to join in those. And a few other topics that don't really make all that much impact immediately. So if you have any other questions, post them in the comments on YouTube. I'm going to throw this video up on YouTube. That'll be the easiest place for me to see questions in the future about this, about Expeditions, about Tapestry plans employees, anything else that you see in the e-newsletter, and I will answer them there. Sorry to duck out on you, but thank you so much for joining me today. I've enjoyed these questions, this conversation, and your curiosity about Expeditions and Tapestry fantasies and futures, and we'll talk about it more in the comments. Thanks. Bye.